There is a meal available every morning in Sakon Nakhon that most food critics have never eaten, most travel magazines have never photographed, and most tourists in Thailand will never find. It costs 40 baht. That is roughly $1. It is grilled chicken cooked over charcoal, sticky rice squeezed from a woven basket, and a papaya salad made with a mortar and pestle by someone who has been making it the same way for 30 years. It is eaten at a plastic table on a plastic chair at 5:30 in the morning at a market that will be completely finished and packed up before the first tourist in Bangkok has had breakfast. This is the food of Northeast Thailand, and it is, by a considerable margin, the most interesting regional cuisine in the country. This episode is about why and about what happens when you actually understand where it came from. The morning market in Sakon Nakhon opens before 5 in the morning, not at 5. Before 5. By the time the sky is beginning to lighten, the vendors have already been there for an hour. The grills are hot. The charcoal has reached the right temperature. The first customers, the ones who work the lake, the ones who open the shops, the monks returning from their alms rounds, have already eaten and left. This market is not a tourist market. There are no English menus. There are no pictures on signs to point at. The prices are not inflated because nobody here assumes a foreign visitor is paying. It is a market that exists for the people who live here and will continue to exist regardless of whether anyone from outside discovers it. The produce section at the northern edge of the market carries things that do not appear in Bangkok supermarkets. Wild vegetables gathered from the fields and forests. Freshwater fish from the lake in varieties that have no English names. Fermented ingredients in clay pots and glass jars that smell extraordinary and look, to the uninitiated, completely alarming. The food stalls in the southern section are where the serious eating happens. Grilled chicken, whole bird split and flattened, marinated overnight in lemongrass, garlic, and fish sauce. Cooked slowly over coconut shell charcoal until the skin is a deep caramelized brown and the meat falls off the bone. Sticky rice in woven bamboo baskets. Papaya salad made to order in a clay mortar. The vendor adjusting the chili level with a precision that comes from years of reading customers. The combination of grilled chicken, sticky rice, and papaya salad is the signature meal of Northeast Thailand. It is eaten at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is eaten at markets, at roadside stalls, at family tables, and at temple festivals. It is so embedded in the culture that asking someone in Sakon Nakhon what they had for lunch and getting this answer is the equivalent of asking someone in Rome what they had for dinner and hearing pasta. In Bangkok, this simple Isan classic suddenly becomes a luxury. 280 baht. And at the morning market, at 5:30 in the morning, it costs 40 baht. To understand Northeast Thai food, it helps to think about where it came from. Not geographically, but economically and historically. Northeast Thailand has historically been the poorest region of the country. The soil is not as fertile as the Central Plains. The rainfall is less reliable. The rivers are smaller. For centuries, the communities here were subsistence farmers and fishermen. They lived with very little margin between a good year and a bad one. When you have very little margin, you do not waste anything. Every part of the fish gets used. Every vegetable that can be preserved gets preserved. Every ingredient that makes food safe gets used heavily. Chili is one of those ingredients. Here is a theory about why the food of this region is so intensely spiced. In a hot climate, without refrigeration, food spoils fast. A piece of fish caught in the morning is already deteriorating by the afternoon. Meat left in the heat is dangerous by the next day. Chili has genuine antimicrobial properties. The compound capsaicin inhibits certain bacteria. It does not make spoiled food safe. But heavy use of chili was a practical response to keeping food edible in a hot climate. Whether or not that is the complete explanation, the result is a food culture that uses chili not as an accent but as a foundation. The heat in Northeast Thai cooking is not decoration. It is structural. Remove the chili and the dish does not exist. The papaya salad made at the morning market in Sakon Nakhon is a good example. The version here is significantly hotter than elsewhere. Not because people are trying to prove anything, but because this is what the dish actually is. The heat is the point. The heat has always been the point. Now for the ingredient that divides opinion more sharply than anything else in this food culture. Fermented fish paste, a dark, intensely aromatic condiment made from small freshwater fish. Salt and thyme is the backbone of Northeast Thai cooking in a way that is almost impossible to overstate. It goes into papaya salad. It goes into chili relishes. It goes into soups, stir-fries, and dipping sauces. It is the umami foundation beneath almost everything. It also smells, to put it diplomatically, extremely powerful. The history of this ingredient almost certainly traces back to the same economic logic as the heavy use of chili. The lake at the center of this province, Nong Han, has been producing fish for the communities on its shores for centuries. At peak season, the catch is enormous, far more than can be eaten fresh. Fermentation is one of humanity's oldest food preservation techniques. Pack fish into a clay pot with salt, seal it, and leave it. The salt draws moisture out of the fish, creating a brine. The naturally occurring bacteria in the fish begin to break down the proteins. Over weeks and months, the fish transforms into something that will keep for a very long time, and that develops a depth of flavor. The communities around Nong Han were not inventing a delicacy. They were solving a problem. What do you do with more fish than you can eat before it goes bad, when you have no refrigeration, no ice? You pack it in salt and you wait. The result turned out to be one of the most absolutely delicious, ingredients in Southeast Asian cooking. The fermented fish paste produced by the families around Nong Han today is made by the same method. The specific flavor of paste made here, from these fish, in this climate by this community, is not replicable elsewhere. It is the simple truth of fermentation. The local conditions, the local bacteria, the local fish all contribute to the final product. Change any of those variables and you get something different. This is why the version of Northeast Thai food served in Bangkok is a copy. A good copy, sometimes, but a copy. The original is here in the morning markets of Sakon Nakhon, made by people who have been making it this way for generations. If this series is making you think about Thailand differently, subscribe. Every week goes deeper into the parts of this country. So what does this food culture actually produce? Here are the dishes worth knowing. Grilled chicken. The version available at Northeast Thai markets is cooked over low charcoal heat for a long time. It is not the high-heat quick cook of a restaurant kitchen, but a slow caramelization. This only happens when a whole bird spends 40 minutes over coconut shell charcoal. The skin darkens to a deep amber brown. The lemongrass and garlic marinade creates a crust. The inside stays moist. It is served with sticky rice, a dipping sauce made from fermented fish paste, lime, chili, and dried roasted rice powder. This dish, at this quality, at a market in Sakon Nakhon, costs about 60 baht. Papaya salad. Raw, unripe papaya shredded into fine strips, pounded briefly in a clay mortar. Mixed with tomatoes, long beans, garlic, chili, lime juice, fish sauce, and fermented fish paste. The mortar bruises the ingredients rather than crushing them, releasing juice rather than pulp. The result is sharp, sour, salty, spicy, and deeply savory all at once. The Northeast Thai version uses fermented fish paste, where the Central Thai version uses dried shrimp. The Northeast version is more complex, more pungent, and significantly hotter. Sticky rice. Not the long-grain rice served across the rest of Thailand, but short-grain glutinous rice. It is soaked overnight and steamed in a woven bamboo basket until it clumps together. It forms a dense, chewy mass. It is eaten by hand, a small ball pinched off to scoop up food. The skill involved in making good sticky rice is underrated. It needs exactly the right moisture level. The rice must be steamed at exactly the right temperature and served immediately. At the morning market, it comes in a small woven container that keeps it warm and slightly moist. Larb, minced meat mixed with toasted ground rice, dried chili, shallots, fish sauce, lime juice, and fresh herbs. It is served at room temperature. The toasted rice powder is the element that makes it distinctive. It adds a nutty, slightly smoky texture that absorbs the dressing and gives the dish a unique quality. Larb represents the sophistication beneath the simplicity of this food culture. It looks like a pile of mince, but it tastes like nothing else. Chili relish with fermented fish paste, a dipping sauce made from roasted chilies, garlic, and shallots, pounded together and served with fresh and blanched vegetables like wing beans, cucumber, and cabbage. It is the most divisive dish in the Northeast Thai repertoire for visitors not used to fermented fish. It demonstrates what this food culture is capable of when made well, a complexity of flavor. It is almost impossible to describe to someone who has not tasted it. The morning market in Sakon Nakhon operates every day from before 5 until around 8 in the morning. After 8, the best food is gone and the stalls begin to pack up. The market is located near the center of the city. Any motorcycle taxi driver or guest house owner in the city will know it. Arriving at 5:30 is the sweet spot. The grills are at their best temperature. The papaya salad vendors are in full swing, and the market has its full energy before the heat of the day arrives. Bring cash, small notes. Nothing here costs more than 100 baht, and most things cost considerably less. The approach that works best is to walk the entire market once before buying anything. Get a sense of what is available, what looks best, which stalls have the longest queues from local customers, because those queues are the only review system that matters. Ordering without a shared language is simpler than it sounds. Point at what looks good. Hold up fingers for quantity. The vendors have been dealing with this their entire working lives and will manage the transaction with complete efficiency. Do not overthink it. The chili level in papaya salad is the one thing worth communicating in advance if there are limits. The default level at a Northeast Thai market is genuinely very hot. Not Bangkok tourist hot, but the real level that the local population actually eats. Indicating preference for less chili is both acceptable and sensible for anyone not accustomed to this level of heat. Beyond the morning market, the food culture of Sakon Nakhon is visible throughout the day at roadside stalls and small restaurants. The morning market is the best single destination, but it is not the only one. The food culture of Northeast Thailand is not famous in the way that Thai food generally is famous. Nobody is writing articles about the morning markets of Sakon Nakhon. No celebrity chef has made a television program here. What exists instead is something more durable than fame, a cooking tradition that developed over centuries in response to real conditions. That has been refined by generations of people who cooked because they needed to feed themselves and their families. And that has ended up producing some of the most complex and satisfying food in Southeast Asia. It costs 40 baht at a plastic table at 5:30 in the morning at a market. That has already packed up before most tourists are awake. The next episode of this series moves from the city into the landscape, the forests, the mountains, and the trails of Sakon Nakhon province, and what it is like to travel through a part of Thailand that has barely been touched by the infrastructure of tourism. That episode is next week. This is Travel Savvy Thailand. Have you ever eaten at a morning market in Northeast Thailand? Drop it in the comments. Everyone gets a reply.